Hello there everyone, this is Iron Mark 3 and welcome back to Ixion. Very cool sci-fi colony management survival game where you sit aboard your mobile station and try not to mess everything up like I have done in the past. Think Frostpunk in space, and you're starting to go along the right lines. Anyway, welcome back. I say welcome back because don't know how many people call it, but I did do basically a first impressions stream, my first attempt at the game when the game came out earlier this week / last week, depending on when this goes out. And if you're interested, that can be found in the it's the first entry in this playlist, so it should be right there. And it went just fine, right up until it didn't. So, still, been a while since I streamed, 4-hour stream. That's alright, honestly. But anyway, I did say I'd come back and I'd do this properly, so I've done a little test game, about as far again, just poking and prodding, just getting back into the flow of Ixion itself. And now we're going back into Ixion properly with video! Also known as me sitting in an empty room, blathering away to myself in the vague hope that I sound somewhat interesting. Hey, that's what recording's like. Anyway, Ixion, new game. As a note, I will not be skipping any cutscenes / radio calls, that kind of stuff. So this will be the full experience for this run, basically. I know you can skip all of that stuff I just mentioned. And there is actually an achievement for skipping within a matter of seconds of getting a call. Believe it or not. But, yeah, for completeness we will have it. Casino Games. I'm going to be watching these guys, actually. I didn't spot those before, so there's little hazard beacons.
Launch control to EMB, Charon. All systems are go.
Launch is imminent. Personnel are instructed to evacuate the launch pad.
Again, I really do like the design of this, though my opinion of this launch pad setup is basically rule of cool. Looks very nice, looks very futuristic, but oh yeah, the armored shutters. But if that went wrong, you wouldn't be able to abort, really, would you? And off we go. This is carrying us, by the way. Our character. I said really cool, but actually watching that, there wasn't that much exhaust emissions, so that means the engines were running very cleanly. Maybe it's this EKP science mumbo jumbo. The in-system drives that they whipped up for this. But yeah, if they were using conventional stuff, they'd have to keep cleaning that control tower all the time. Anyway, yeah. Very cool.
You have been assigned to Typhoon Docking Bay. Welcome on board, passengers. Shuttle EMV Charon is now docked. Sector 1 empowered and pressurized. Munchie decontamination protocol online. Disembarkation authorized. Message to crew members. Welcome on board the Tycoon, property of Dolus Aerospace Engineering Corporation. You will soon be given your assignments, but until then, please continue to wait near the docking bay. We hope you have a productive voyage, and would like to thank you for your contribution towards humanity's future. Administrator, I am Eden, the personal assistant installed on board the Tycoon. In accordance with the Munchie Protocol, I have been designed to take into consideration your complete psychological profile so that I may more accurately respond to any needs you may have. My primary purpose is to ensure the Tycoon's automated systems function efficiently. I will keep track of the tasks that are necessary for you to fulfill your prerogative of reaching Proxima Centauri and carrying out field research, mining operations, manufacturing protocols, and Dolos colonization tests.
Alright, thank you very much for all of that. And yes, we are indeed here. As I continue my efforts to do all the things. Oops. So I'm not really going to wait around for these. I was waiting during the initial burst of that because it locked my movement controls. But as soon as I got control, I got started. So.
Administrator, I wanted to introduce you to your first tasks personally. I'm Dolos' cryonics lead, Marduk Council member Giovanni Batista. So, let's see. Your first objective will be to begin setting up essential infrastructure aboard the Tycoon, meeting the environmental conditions that are required to support your crew. Having laid these foundations, you will then oversee the installation of the Vol engine and perform a short test jump to Proxima Centauri. Upon arrival, your research teams will carry out a brief survey of local space, gather a few rock and coal dust samples, fire up the colonization protocol, begin building the foundations for mankind's future, yada yada yada. And then you'll come back. Now, in order to achieve this, you'll need to familiarize yourself with the Tycoon's core functions. It's no big deal. There's the production, stockpiling and distribution of resources, construction, balancing of power output with allocation. Oh, and space exploration, you know, sending out expeditions and all that. Basically, everything needed to establish scientific advancement and harmonious autonomy on board the Tycoon following the first test of its Vol engine. Eden's gonna display and keep track of your main objectives. Oh, and Administrator, don't let the position go to your head. Veneer has insisted to center Dolos' focus on the Tycoon. But this mission is just in preparation for our next project, the Protagoras. The Marduk Council worked damn hard to pull this mission together ahead of schedule. So, toe the line, do as you're told, and bring the Tycoon back in one piece. Leave the grand gestures and saving of mankind from ecosystemic destruction to us, okay? One last word of advice. We don't all think like Veneer Dolos. As of yet, no human law has been officially established amongst the stars. That sounds like an opportunity knocking.
This guy. He really cares about us, but he's kind of hammering home that he has authority and we are nothing more than the first ones out the gates. We're to test and then that's it.
Administrator, I have established a connection with Dolus' lead data scientist, Emma Klein.
Okay.
Administrator, Mr. Dolos has made it abundantly clear when it comes to security. Given the importance of the Tycoon, we must have full control over what is happening inside the station. My name is Emma Klein, Dolos' lead data scientist and member of the Marduk Council. My department have just completed final synchronization between Eden and our data treatment tool, the DLS. The DLS, or Data Listening System, is capable of scanning, recording, and parsing exchanges of any kind. The DLS programming that is a part of Eden will filter all data collected and bring to your attention only the most relevant information. It will also provide you with a condensed overview of any situations that may arise and formulate potential future outcomes. It will permit you to give direct orders without having to go through additional unnecessary paperwork. Eden will then take care of everything via their DLS accreditation. As is often the case with tools produced by my department, I think you'll find that once you start using the DLS, you'll never be able to do without it. Oh, and before I let you go ahead and start writing history, Dr. Munshi, our lead medical expert, wanted me to bring to your attention a possible side effect of vol jumping. Whilst there is a correlation between prolonged space travel and the development of early onset dementia, he believes that a vol jump has the potential to accelerate this process, although this is yet to be proven. His recommendation is for you to immediately send any crew members that are exhibiting uncharacteristic or symptomatic behavior to an infirmary, as these facilities are equipped to treat the mind as well as the body. Remember that all of your actions and choices are being recorded by Eden. We are not affiliated with any national or even international organization. The only people that you are answerable to are those of us who sit on the Marduk Council, who represent the collective interests and ambitions of the company.
Administrator, a new request awaits your attention.
Okay, so first request. Like in Frostpunk, these guys will occasionally events and things will come up and we'll need to respond. Titan crew members are currently unable to access food supplies. The protocols direct consumption of mess hall, buildings designed to distribute food to our stockpiles of the crew. Guarantees access to food supplies would reaffirm your competence as an administrator. So basically, they think we're incompetent because they didn't give us access to the blueprints. So it's like, hey, idiot, you can build this now. Have fun. Very friendly of them, I say. And let's pop that, I guess, there. Something to note is basically one food feeds 20 populations and they feed every 5 cycles. So there is a bit of leeway of quantity of food versus exactly how much you need to throw at people. Though that said, the demo gave you like 300 food and lots of food just to make sure you were playing okay, but the game itself is a lot stricter in that regard. Anyway, let's move on. Let's get all of this accelerating a bit further.
Administrator, I have an incoming transmission.
Okay, next transmission.
Henry Bargeville.
So, you'd think this corporation thing would be more of a factor, but it's really not. This game plays by chapter, and the first chapter is, as far as I know, the only time you have to deal with them.
Bonjour, Administrator.
He's
What
polite.
a wonderful day to embrace our fate, don't you think? I'm Henri Bargeville, writer, philosopher, lobbyist, but most of all member of the Marduk Council. I have taken the liberty of personally arranging an exchange out of courtesy with the Oceanabe, a ship in high orbit belonging to one of our commercial allies, the Ashtongites. Even though they are a small organization, the Ashtongites are important partners who share the same pragmatic, moralistic, and spiritual outlook.
Sorry, just interrupting. Pledge to have all crew quarters within 12. So yeah, they get a bit grumpy if they don't have enough homes either. I just didn't spot that pop up.
The Oceanabe will provide us with a source of food while carrying out the Tycoon's initial testing. By making it the first exclusive trade partner of the Tycoon, we will demonstrate to our long-term allies that Dolos wishes for them to share in our successes. Please assign a cargo ship so that we can check the trade routines. Administrator, trust in genetic kinetics. Self-similar space will reveal the pattern.
Okay, so cargo ship. I'm also producing a science ship because one of the things we need to do is we need to go ahead and explore. And it may seem like I'm kind of speedrunning this a little bit. I admit I am. Let's see, we want the food. People. There we go, just get all the refined resources and stuff. Because there isn't any mining to be had, but there is other things we can do in this first part. Also, I do need to provide more crew quarters as well. Let's see. I know. If you've seen other videos, this might not look exactly optimized because it's not.
Administrator, a new request awaits your attention.
Exactly. It's not exactly optimized, this, but it does keep on going. Anyway, we've got a new request. Crew members are being overworked. So this starts to tell us about the fact that we can start overworking our crew, and if they get overworked, then the accidents and things become more likely, which is actually a spiraling negative effect, so you've got to watch out for that. But requesting additional personnel, this is free population. No reason not to pick it up, except for the fact you need to feed them. Anyway, we've got science now. Let's go ahead and pick up the EVA airlock, followed by the probe launcher. Close the tech tree. And let things keep on rolling. Let's keep it rolling. Yes. Because the number of problems I had in my stream game and my test game caused by workplace safety. Extra hours is extremely bad, even though it seems like it should be the mild thing, it's still enough to cause significant problems. I think we got a science ship out. We did. So, welcome to the Sol system. This is where we can wander around. We can move our station around as well because the Tycoon is a mobile station. It's got big, beefy thrusters on it. But there's also points of interest to go up to and research and check as well. So you can get resources, you can get science, things like that. Science in particular is quite vulnerable, kind of rarish at the start of the game, and not the game I streamed, but the game after that I did testing. I managed to soft lock myself basically by running out of science. So that's something to be aware of. It can happen a little bit. But science is not something you can really just shrug and go, I don't need it. You do kind of need it.
A science ship has arrived at its destination.
Thank you. So, investigate the events. Moon, abandoned base. Base out of commission, auxiliary systems are operational. Could be used to restore power. We've reached the UN base. It's abandoned, depressurized. The surveillance system is still operational, awaiting orders. So, we can dismantle the base, or we can exploit a security vulnerability. It's worth noting that the outcomes of these are not subject to any RNG. Longer or options that cost resources don't actually guarantee a better outcome, so be aware of that as you go in. But it does mean you can learn the events over time, or you can look up a guide if you want to, but as a note, I don't. So I'm going to exploit the vulnerability. We are going to be functioning off what I remember, but I've deliberately avoided exploring further into the game. So let's just do that. The science ship is actually one of the things that it can be a bit of a choke point in terms of game progression a little bit. I think I want to get another storage up, don't I? Yeah, I do. Just the one? Just the one. We do not have enough housing.
A science ship team has completed a task.
Ah, that's unfortunate. So that housing request actually came in at the same time as I got those extra population in. So the extra population actually counts towards the request. I plan to house them anyway, but bit of a whoopsie. Okay, so hacked in. We got some science points, very tasty science points, and then we can go ahead and dismantle the base anyway because this lets us get both. We can have our cake and eat it, and we get some materials from that. Very nice. Now, something worth noting, by the way, is I said it's a research.
Due to insufficient level.
Also, we just overloaded our power grid. I'm gonna... I don't need you right now, so I'll shut you off.
For electricity generation, Sector 1's power demand has overloaded. Stanford routines recommend that you construct an external solar panel to boost overall electrical output.
That will be done. But I don't have the tech yet because I'm still waiting on the tech to be gathered by science ship. So science is definitely something that's a bit limited.
The team has completed a task.
Also, science is like other materials. You've got to actually gather it from the point you get it. Worth noting. My science ship has to sit there and tick up the science, and then I can send it to wander off somewhere else. So let's go. Oh yeah, currently just... oh wait, yeah. 90 science, 30 metal. There you go. Hey, you're going to be there for a while yet, aren't you? Oh well, could be worse.
Administrator, I have an incoming transmission from Dolus's head of medicine, Dr. Abhinav Munshi.
Okay, new one.
Greetings, Administrator. I'm Dr. Abhinav Munshi, Dolo's expert in compartmentalism and medicine, and a member of the Marduk Council. I'm glad to finally meet you, even in this digital manner. Your psychological test results were quite impressive. My friend and colleague, Philip Stanford, couldn't be here today, so I will take the role of introducing you to the final stages of the Vol engine integration. Before we get into that, however, we would like you to complete the testing station's exploration and enhancement capabilities. You'll then be able to begin researching the EVA airlock and assess its compatibility with the Tycoon's core systems. I hope that the work of our team will ensure that you're equipped to deal with most situations you encounter up there. Before I leave you, Stanford would like me to remind you that space is a far less fanciful and forgiving environment than science fiction would have us believe. It would be wise to remember that.
So he actually cares to remind us that we're not in some big black space playground. I'm going to shut off that for a moment because, well, otherwise, as soon as this system came online, it would overload. So I need to get some solar panels so I can actually start turning stuff back on again. So welcome to the exterior of the Tycoon. We saw it in the cinematics and we saw it in the main menu, but Tycoon by itself is a functional piece of hardware. A very nice looking piece of kit. That also worth noting, by the way, exterior modules in your things do appear, so the appearance does change based on what you do to it. I'm out here though because I want to get a solar panel installed, yes. So that'll get me some extra power. And then I'm going to go ahead and install the Vol engine as well, because I need to have that. And that's going to suck up a bunch of resources as well. Also, I'm going to tell you... Actually, I can't give you an order because you're still under construction, that's fine. Also, I need to turn you back on so I can get that. Let's pause you. Power management. You know you're not in the afterlife because resource constraints exist. That's one of the sayings, isn't it? Look at that, the solar panels are slowly coming in. Lovely. And now the engine's starting to get mounted. Let's see. 15 for 4 or 10 for 40. Sorry, 15 for 40. So yeah, basically the lower tier ones are more resource efficient on the solar panels. So it's cheaper to just slowly upgrade them rather than go for the biggest, best ones straight away. As far as I know, I've not actually expanded past the small ones by myself, so I've not actually checked that. Just thought I'd mention that. But anyway, we can turn stuff back on though, so... do that. I want you to build for me. Actually, I'll tell you to auto build because we do need that. And there's our engine array. Big old hyperdrive. There's also an incoming transmission, but there's something I want to do first, which is I want to get a probe out. This is actually a hidden achievement in the game as well, but the demo had it too, so it's quite easy to find. But in this period of the game, there's only one thing to throw a probe at. So that's basically it. And then I'm going to let it rebuild a probe and just turn it off again. Anyway, while that probe's doing that, say hi.
Because of your continued successful management of the Tycoon, Dolos have authorized the dispatch of new crew members and food supplies. Please ensure that they have suitable accommodation once you reach Proxima Centauri. Administrator, a new request awaits your attention.
A new request? Well, we've got that, so we've actually started unlocking higher into the tech tree. I wasn't quite aware that we get this stuff already. So that's something to be doing, actually. We can get started on that if we keep investing in things. Oh, there's the request. Hello. Food supplies dwindling. Ah, yeah, the last request of this chapter. Despite cane control protocols, some crew members have become aware of this, and they are worried food will soon run out. Make a public commitment to increase food production. And that is absolutely fine. So, it's a good idea to keep on top of food, because food is going to be an issue. Spoiler alert. Anyway. Insect farm. 1 food per cycle. So, actually, if it's 1 food per cycle... it should be 1 every 5, right? Sorry, I'm slightly confounded. But yeah, the numbers aren't quite right for that. Because... well, actually they probably are, I'm just misreading things. Yeah, average over 5, so yeah. Never mind. That's all just fine and dandy. We are having no issues whatsoever. Because if that was like over 1 cycle, then that's off, but it's over 5, so that's fine. It's showing exactly what it needs to show. And I'm just being an idiot. Shocking, I know.
A science ship has arrived at its destination.
Okay, Mars. The unit has established a facility on Mars. Its crew are currently looking materials required to repair a critical fault in the oxygen supply system. They've submitted an official request to Dolos for aid. So, repair the fault in exchange for resources. Repair the fault in exchange for research data. Or refuse to help the facility. So, we could just hard-ass it and say, no, we're not going to. But there's an official request to Dolos. 20 base metal or 10 base metal and 10 polymers. Which is honestly okay, and given what I mentioned earlier about soft locking, I am going to go for a bit of extra research data instead. Now I have to commit a cargo ship to this, so I'll tell them to do that. And in other news, our probe has actually arrived and revealed the super secret hidden event, Unauthorized Access. Only available in this chapter of the story, because, well, chapters do interesting things. Also, we got a transmission, apparently.
Administrator, the different phases of preparation, calibration, and verification were successfully completed. You must now start the full bonding procedure. Dolos protocols now deem you competent to gather resources, knowledge, and test colonization routines once you reach Proxima Centauri. Before you do so, Vanir Dolos, Marduk Council founder and Dolos CEO.
So there we go. Prepared, we get 10 science extra. That's all okay. So, next transmission from the founder of our little group.
Hello, Administrator. I'm glad to see that you have managed to complete your assignments in preparation for this unique moment in history. You must understand that this is not simply another chapter in humanity's story. The book of our life on Earth is over, and we stand now at its epilogue. It saddens me to think that there are many who have yet to comprehend
the reality of our situation. We've endured endless cycles of war, crisis, and famine. Still, the worst is yet to come. There are others like Dolos who have prepared for this outcome, but most of our kind remain sheltered from the horror of the predicament we find ourselves in. This pale ghost of civilization will wither and die, and with it, the tenets and values of the past. As we prepare to leave this system for the first time, perhaps we must decide which fragments we will pick up and take forward with us. Through Dolos, I am offering mankind an alternative means of survival. The Tycoon is a tablet upon which we will carve
our new history. Do you recognize why I have done all of this? Having foreseen our fate, I became fixated on altering it. I set about fashioning the ropes and tying the knots.
I'm going to pause you there, but about tying knots. Just very quickly to get this going. So, Saturn. Signature, more EKB system detected. Near Saturn, EKB technology is exclusive property of Dolos, but records indicate that the company has not deployed any missions to this sector. The signature will soon enter the atmosphere of Saturn. So, intellectual property is suspected breach. So, attempt to locate debris in orbit, or we can send a team. Honestly, it's better to send a team than to look for debris. So, let's go ahead and do that.
That would bind together this magnificent ship. It is true that our time in this world is brief, but at least I can rest assured knowing that my legacy
will endure for eons. Farewell, Administrator. For the few who stand in the light, and the many who dwell in the dark, you carry the fate of us all.
You know, cool little factor. I just realised that it's actually playing over the announcer system in here. It's not a private conversation at all. Which is slightly unfortunate, but okay. Right, so we must move the Tycoon to the moon. I will do so in preparation for departure, which diverts all power to the thrusters. Unfortunately, that means that all of our sectors are going to power down, so off we go. There are things you can do to mitigate this later, but right now, not. Also, I'm going to start that immediately. Well, I say immediately, I've left it sitting idle for quite a while, but I'll pick that up because that's pretty important. I'll also go ahead and queue up, I think let's queue up steel mills afterwards. So getting some tech, it's nice to get started. I think they might have done this slightly in an update, because I don't remember unlocking this stuff in this system. Might just be me misremembering stuff. Anyway, here comes Saturn.
A science ship team has completed a task.
So, a prototype rocket sent by the UN using a variation of EKP. We have stripped it down and recovered schematics. And no doubt sent a complaint. Then again, how different does something have to be to count as something new? Some variation at least. But anyway, we're not going to be long left in the system. All we've got to do is unauthorized access, and then deal with the results of unauthorized access, and then we are good to go. Our food supply is holding up. Actually, no, my food supply is not holding up. Hang on. Let's just make sure that we are doing that. And yes, I know, that's a very efficient placement.
Has arrived at its destination.
But you can scrap buildings for no loss, so might as well accept that you're going to shuffle stuff around anyway. Okay, unauthorized access. By seeking this point, you are breaching the terms of your contract with Dolos AEC. Further actions can and will result in summary dismissal. So, now protocol, create temporary easement, contact the station Outer Hope. Attack the station, this is Marduk Council member Rabia Nyokand. You are not authorized to interface with Outer Hope. The purpose of this facility is to allow Dolos to continue development of its most highly classified projects, away from the prying eyes of our competitors and the media conglomerates on Earth. Do you not realize that the whole world is watching you at this moment, and that your presence here could jeopardize this entire operation? I'll be filing an official complaint with Vanny himself, unless perhaps you can do something for me that may change my mind. Something I'd like to note here, which has more impact now that I've had a game over in that stream. Interface with Outer Hope. Interface. So it doesn't actually show you this at all, but it did show me in the game over I got. That basically we are a cryopreserved human in a pod plugged into the station. So that's why we interact with Tychon this way. And we're not suffering any kind of ill effects or anything like that. So we are essentially a human popsicle acting as the brain of the Tychon itself. Which I think is a nice piece of sci-fi fluff there. Very nice. And also a somewhat unfortunate, somewhat chilly kind of fate, but to the right person it might be worth it. Or it might be a temporary thing because they could always defrost my character later. Who knows? Cryopreservation is a thing we are kind of exploring a little bit in a very vague kind of way nowadays. So, who knows? Anyway, resume data listing protocols. So, we can send them some resources, 30 metal, or we can refuse it. But this will give us some more advanced parts and some science, hopefully. We always need some more science. We're actually tapped out for science right now. Just have to wait for our little ship to go.
Power supply overloaded.
Ah, dang it. What do we need? We don't need the EVA airlock right now. Power backup. Side note, by the way, every time you have a blackout, it actually has a straight impact on your trust level, so better avoid them if at all possible. There goes my cargo ship.
A science ship team has completed a task.
And there we go. Thank you. Now leave. I'm sure that Delos issues a public statement to rationalize our contact here at the edge of the solar system. Placate Vernier for now, but you'll need to explain your actions in due course. You might have heard we're working on the next iteration of the Tycoon, the Protagoras. Tycoon operation must succeed if we are to achieve our goal of bringing humanity a new era. Trust in genetic conatus. Self-similar space will reveal the pattern. So, 2 processors, 20 polymers. So, essentially some more refined materials for a trade of basic alloy. And that's also why I configured the cargo ship to be able to do that earlier, so it'll be able to pick up the stuff. But anyway, that's about it. That's about it. We have finished the demo. Also, I thought I turned you off. Never mind. We're all good to go. Just waiting for the cargo ship to come back. Also, lack of science. How many people do we have? We have plenty. I'm going to tell you to build an extra science ship ready for once after we go. Ah, here's the cargo ship. Worth noting, by the way, is there are no electronics. I'm going to reassign this cargo bay here to deal with that. And we are basically good to go. Something of note, by the way, that I was not aware of, which I just stumbled across while looking about, is we can actually unassign craft from our bays. I don't think we get the population back for it. But we've still got it. It's just not assigned to a docking bay, so it's not going to do anything. But that frees up the docking bay slot so that we can go ahead and use it for something else. In this case, I'm going to tell it to build a mining ship as well, because we're going to need it. But yeah, that didn't free up the crew, as far as I can tell. And the ships do get individual experience, and they individually learn and stuff like that, so that's something to keep in mind. The crew do level up over time. Anyway, enough about that. We have a engine test to perform. So, let us spin up the Vol engine. Requires a power charge, requires a little bit of cycle time. So, potentially this means that if you're trying to jump out of a dangerous situation, it could kind of get to you. Also, the power loss is an issue as well, but we'll go ahead.
In accordance with Stanford procedures, all ships must return to the Tycoon before Volt jump initiation.
Well, all ships are already back here, so that's just fine by me. Also, I'm thinking maybe the hatches should be on the other side of the station, because that's where the access is. Back here, there's a slight engine bay in the way. I have to keep that in mind for aesthetics later. Also, people are starving. Right. Let us begin our engine test. Let us make sure this engine works properly. Nothing can go wrong at all. Absolutely nothing. Off we go, slipping into space. I do like this FTL effect. It's very nice. Also, it quite clearly shows we're shunting across dimensions a little bit. And that's things from our side, and now we get to see the last scene of the demo about what happens. So big celebration, big countdown.
The Earth, our home.
Oh yeah, this cinematic.
Unique. Held in its bosom are the ingredients of evolution. Beyond raw survival, beyond the safety of comfort, we, humanity, pursue something greater. We have learnt, persevered, shaped our knowledge from that which is found in the furthest realms of science. However, humanity has brought destruction to the earth, polluted its blood, choked its breath. Today we are paying the price for this. We know the taste of a dying world. But the earth is not to be our grave. A mother does not wish to see her children disappear with her. She wishes to see instead courage in her children, to carry on. Dolos carries this courage. We have gone further than any nation, moved faster than any corporation, hand in hand with those who, like us, carry that courage. The Tycoon Station is both an epilogue of these endeavors and a prologue to humanity's next steps. Our Council of Scientists leads the vanguard. They know, as do we all, that the survival of humanity now depends on what we glimpse out there in the dark. That we are masters of our own destiny. That we must go as a species bound together, pushing further into the unknown. We set sail on this new sea because there is hope to be found, horizons to explore, and because our very existence depends on it. I give you the stars. I give you the full engine.
And whoops. Side effects. And that's where it cuts back to the menu. But yeah, that cutscene, yeah. Anyway, here we are, right after our jump, I believe.